Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to International House. My name is Corinne Pompey, and I'm the program coordinator here. It's my pleasure to welcome you to today's program, Enchantment, a bioplay of the life and music of Ravi Shankar. At International House, our mission is to enable students and scholars from around the world to learn together in a diverse community that builds lifelong qualities of leadership, respect, and friendship. International House was established in 1932 to bring people together across borders, disciplines, and perspectives. We fulfill that mission through programs like today's, which invite the broader community into this space to share in a meaningful dialogue together. Whether this is your first visit to iHouse or one of many, thanks for being here, and we're so glad to have you with us. We invite you to explore our many upcoming programs, which you can learn more about on our website, social media, and at the table in the foyer. And now time for a few thank yous. We're especially grateful to our partners at Calipria Center for Indian Performing Arts, an organization rooted in South Asian culture and committed to serving our city's diverse communities. Calipria uses the arts as a bridge between cultures, creating space for dialogue, understanding, and shared experience across communities. That's a mission that resonates deeply with what we do here at International House, and we're so proud to partner with them on this program. I'd also like to thank the Committee on Southern Asian Studies at University of Chicago for supporting this program. This afternoon, Calipria brings us Enchantment, an intimate theatrical journey into the life and music of Ravi Shankar. We'll explore themes like vulnerability, struggle, and artistic triumph. This is the kind of work that reminds us why the arts matter, why passing down cultural stories is so important, and why spaces like this one exist. Now please join me in welcoming Radu Shaker, President of the Board of Directors of Calipria Center for Indian Performing Arts.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Karen, for this wonderful introduction. I have been part of the family of International House since 1981. Many of you people were not born at that time, but it has been a vibrant part of the community. And we used to live down the street and come over here. And our children grew up at the lab school, and our grandchildren grew up at the lab school, and now we live in the South Loop. So International House is like coming home. And it's really lovely that our collaboration is continuing. I mean, I can't enumerate the number of times we have been here and the number of times I've been standing here saying a few words about Calipria. So, welcome. I want to start off by saying a few words. Welcome, dear audiences. You are the most important part of the arts sector. Without you, nothing would happen. Okay. It is a very difficult time for the arts. And your participation and your interest in what we're doing and your help in fundraising will be the most important element of what happens in the next 50, 75, 100 years. So thank you for being here today, and thank you for supporting us. Without the arts, just imagine the society. It would be barren. Chicago needs the International House, and we believe that it needs Calipria. Gauri Ramnarayan needs no introduction, certainly not to the International House. She has performed here so many times, and she knows Hyde Park pretty well. Every year since 2015, there has been one or more instances where her performance has been shown in Hyde Park. From the Mahabharata's 15 episodes with Whitney here, Water Lilies, 3 plays, I Sing for Change, the story of Mahatma Gandhi, through music of the children of the Chicago Children's Choir. Good Trouble, the story of the civil rights movement in America. So she has written the story of that, and it was performed. Her storytelling is exceptional, blending script with music and dance and action. She has brought the arts to schools, teaching in Chicago's public schools, where middle schoolers were taught a story. She created a storyline based on India's Mahatma Gandhi's movement for freedom, and it was performed by the South Side children of middle school. She's just an amazing artist. Today I ask you to pay attention to her use of Ravi Shankar's original music, for which she got permission from Sukanya Shankar. Dance, which she uses very carefully to describe the life of his mind. So whenever you see dance, just think that it's imagining what he's thinking. There's not much more I want to say, except that at the end of the show, we will have a short Q&A, and then there's a reception, and you can meet the artist and mingle. Enjoy.
Friends, welcome to our play. Welcome to Enchantment. First of all, may I ask you, where do we begin when we are talking about an extraordinary genius whose life spanned 9 decades? Arguably the greatest sitar player his motherland had ever seen. Unquestionably, the first and the foremost internationally recognized musician of India, a colossus who straddled the East and the West, North and South, traditional and modern. The maestro who put Indian music on the world map. You know who I'm talking about, Pandit Ravi Shankar, born in 1920 and who left the world in 2012. Now, you also know that the real question here is, how do you avoid the superficial when you're talking about such a giant? How do you go deep into his heart? How do you go beyond to find his soul? Impossible. Impossible? No. Surely you can access the man's mind through his music. But the problem here is that when you listen to Ravi Shankar's music, you forget the man, you forget yourself. You are lost in a rapture beyond thought, beyond analysis. But don't worry, there is another way. Ravi Shankar's own words. After all, the man wrote not 1, but 2 autobiographies, and there are biographies now, plus countless articles, full-length features, interviews, profiles on page and screen, written across the world. Most importantly, there are my own interviews of the maestro, many of them conducted over the years. I can draw from them. However, to shape the man through his words, I must summon the actor. Johann, where are you?
I'm here!
Come along. Hurry.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time.
Hey, stop. I said sitar, not guitar. This play is about Pandit Ravi Shankar, the sitar maestro.
I can't play a single note on the sitar to save my life. I'm tone deaf to that kind of music.
Listen, and believe me, now that the audience has seen you, they will thank all the stars if you don't play the sitar. or the guitar, or the mouth organ, or the Jew's harp, or any other instrument. Besides, the only sitar we have in our play is a sitar that cannot be seen, not a sitar that is played live on the stage, you know.
Sorry, Gauri, I can't do this. Because what possible fresh insight can you possibly hope to bring to this man who was forever under media glitz? I mean, the whole world and his wife know all about him.
Listen to me, listen to me. If you look at the shadows, not the light, you can find new things, you know. After all, there is drama, the human saga of uncertainties, ambiguities, perplexities, dilemmas.
Gauri, it's one thing for a wordsmith like you to spin your stories. It's a completely different thing for an actor like me to enact those stories. I mean, how do you expect me to morph into this sitar maestro? I don't look like him. I don't feel like him. I don't even talk like him.
Listen, just relax. Nobody expects you to clone Pandit Ravi Shankar. Everybody who is present here knows that you are the actor, not the character. They don't expect you to mimic Ravi Shankar's voice, copy his accents, mimic his mannerisms. What they want from you, correct me if I'm wrong, what they want from you is for you to explore the artist's struggle, the artist's soul.
The artist's soul?
Yes.
Well, no actor can really refuse the idea of trying to grapple with a character that is so different from his own world.
So you'll do it?
Okay, all right.
Okay.
And you'll be there with me, won't you? I mean, look at you, stage manager. Lucky you, you're just playing yourself.
No. I am not going to be on the stage with you, but I am lucky because I found someone to take my place as the storyteller, stage manager, Sutradhar. Okay? Arabi, hey Arabi, where are you?
Here, I'm here.
Wait. Huh. She's going to be you.
Yes. Do you have any objections?
No. I mean, if she's going to convince them that she's you who are sitting there in flesh and blood, then I am definitely going to convince all of them that I'm not the man who's not here at all.
Ignore him. That's just performance anxiety. He will get over it. But I, on the other hand, I may have a bit of a problem.
What problem do you have?
I was not even born when most of those things were happening in Ravi Shankar's life.
Arabi, do you think you have to be born in ancient Ayodhya to play Rama on the stage? Wake up, girl. All you have to do is to conduct the action, step in to play a couple of cameo roles, and keep the flow going. Come on, both of you. Come. All the best. Go for it, okay?
कोई है? Anyone? No one? I'm alone. That is something new. For most of my life, I have been known as what they call a globetrotter, a traveling Indian classical musician, now here, now there, everywhere, hardly ever alone, rarely ever free, a restless lifestyle, a restless mind. Where's the time to think about where I'm going and what I'm doing? Now that I find myself to be truly alone, I suppose I could look back, take a deep breath and ask myself, who am I? How did I become who I am? That's too pretentious. How about, how did I become a musician? Well, that's a good question. You see, when I was young, Indian classical music was a family tradition. Anyone could not just become an Indian classical musician. You had to be the son of a son of a son of a son of an ustad or a pandit to be validated as the genuine article. See, I did not have generations of pandits lined up behind me. My father had a Western education. He had been the Diwan of the Jalawar state. They say that he was a scholar, trained in music, but not like a professional one. Anyway, it hardly ever mattered because, you see, my father abandoned his wife and 5 sons just like that. Went to practice law in London, even married an English woman. I was only a child. But even then I realized that we meant nothing to him. He sent money to his sisters, but never to us. I don't know how Ma managed. Once as the minister's wife, she had lived a life of luxury, with princesses and queens as her friends. And now I saw her working her sewing machine, stitching blouses to supplement her meager pension from the state. Often I saw her rummaging through the trunk for a jewel or a silk sari, and weeping as she handed it to the pawnbroker. Ma was very attached to me. I was her youngest son. I felt closest to her when I lay my head on her lap and listened to her stories of the gods. Ma spoke very little, but so sweetly she sang. I still recall those lullabies under the stars. I still sing those songs and remember my mother's love. So you see, the only songs I knew growing up were my mother's lullabies.
That's not strictly true, because little Ravi had access to another kind of music as well. Ravi's brother, Rajendra, was theatre mad. His room was crammed with musical instruments, all borrowed, to play the back scores for his theatre club productions. Ravi would sneak into this room and try them all out. Sitar, esraj, tabla, harmonium, flute, everything. Somehow, he could reproduce whatever he heard them practicing. He picked up their songs just as easily. Imagine how surprised his family was when once, at a school function, they heard him sing one of these songs. Ravi's first public performance and first applause.
It was not music that obsessed me when I was young, but stories, especially from our epics. I pounced on every book and magazine that I could get my hands on. My mind turned those words into moving visuals. I saw those scenes as characters right before my very eyes. I didn't have playmates growing up. So what? I stood in front of a mirror. I imagined my own world. I created my own characters. I was just about everybody.
Hero, heroine, god, demon, giant, dwarf, villain, clown. The valiant prince Arjuna sees his target reflected in the water below, takes aim, releases the arrow, hits the target. The beautiful princess Draupadi garlands the winner Arjuna. Duryodhana jumps up. I will fight Arjuna. Bhima, Arjuna's older brother, Go, Arjuna, take the princess and go. I will stop these fools. Arjuna shouts back, no, brother, I will stay and fight with you. All the enemies are vanquished. Draupadi, come, let us go. For young Ravi Shankar, growing up in Banaras was to be steeped in the culture of his homeland, Bharat. Oh, the thrill of waking up before dawn, bells ringing, conches blowing, drums beating, priests chanting, devotees singing, and the crowds crying out the Lord's name in the temple processions. Hara Hara Mahadeva Shambho, Jai Jai Vishwanatha Shambho, Hara Hara Mahadeva Shambho, Jai Jai Vishwanatha Shambho.
Jaya Gange Mata, Shri Jaya Gange Mata, Jo nar tujhko dhyata, Jo nar tujhko dhyata, Paramagati Pata, Om Jaya Gange Mata.
পতিতোদ্ধারিণী গঙ্গে মা পতিতোদ্ধারিণী গঙ্গে মা পতিতোদ্ধারিণী গঙ্গে শ্যাম বিতপি ঘন তট বিপ্লাবিনী ধূসর তরঙ্গ ভঙ্গে শ্যাম বিতপি ঘন তট বিপ্লাবিনী ধূসর তরঙ্গ ভঙ্গে পতিতোদ্ধারিণী গঙ্গে পতিতোদ্ধারিণী গঙ্গে কথন বনগরী তীর্থ হইল তব চুম্বি চরণ শুভমাই কথ নর নারী ধন্য হইল মা তব সলিলে অবগাহি বহিষ জননীয়ে ভারতবর্ষে কথা শত যুগ যুগ পাহি করি সুশ্যামল কথমর প্রান্তর শীতল পুণ্য তরঙ্গে পতিতোদ্ধারিণী গঙ্গে মা পতিতোদ্ধারিণী গঙ্গে মা পতিতোদ্ধারিণী গঙ্গে।
The sun sets, the sky turns purple, and all the tableaus become silhouettes, rim lit by the flames dancing on the funeral pyres. Orange, red, purple, blue. Mist and smoke dissolve everything into a dream.
I was only a child, but even then I become dimly aware of my material world dissolving into the spiritual. I felt pure and light, and joy filled my heart, the deepest joy I had ever known. And then, suddenly, someone drags me home.
It was curtains down on the age of innocence when oldest brother Uday Shankar came to move the family from Banaras to Paris. Uday Shankar was already an international star, having partnered the legendary ballerina Anna Pavlova. In 1930, Uday had his own dance company, and his dance ballets were a sensation in Europe.
To me, Uday appeared like a god. And when he danced, he was almost a god, filled with immense power and overwhelming beauty. He was the Superman who shaped my artistic and creative personality. I'd say my total being.
To the boy from Banaras, the Western world was a magical universe.
France enchanting, America dazzling.
But he was not blinded by the West.
I hungered for my homeland.
He pored over books on Indian art and sculpture.
I fell in love with India's past.
Deva, Asura, Tantra, Mantra, Siddha, Yoga all triggered his imagination.
I dreamed of becoming a yogi, a saint.
But he was infuriated with the political situation in India.
I drew up elaborate plans to end India's British enslavement.
He heard about the freedom fighters marching in India.
I fantasized about defeating battalions of British soldiers.
That patriotism throbs in his tune for Muhammad Iqbal's poem.
Sare jahan se acha Hindostan hamara hum bulbule hai iski ye gulstan hamara Sare jahan se acha.
Ravi became very useful in Uday's dance company. He played multiple instruments in the orchestra. He danced as the monkey god. He writhed as the snake devil. He bounced as the village clown. Audiences adored him. Critics acclaimed him. Off the stage, he was moving in an exclusive circle of writers, painters, poets, musicians, movie stars, directors. Oof. It was no ordinary life. It was Star Trek all the way.
I was a dandy. I had modish clothes, trendy shoes, natty hairstyle. I reveled in the high life with a jet-setting glitterati. I knew all the flesh spots, hot spots, nightclubs, cabarets, floor shows, and strip shows. I saw my brothers and their many girlfriends. Women simply worshipped Uday wherever we went. To them, he seemed to personify the West's idea of Kama Sutra. And oh, those women, they drove me wild. Heady perfumes, rustling silks, legs flashing by. Those women, they kissed me, caressed me, hugged me, thinking I'm a cute little boy. Little did they know that I did not feel like a cute little boy. No, I was excited all the time. Nerves tingling, heart pounding, blood rushing. I wanted to be near them, smell them, feel them. Yes, I was in love with all the women and all their daughters. All at the same time. I saw too much too early. I grew up too fast. I was only 14 years old when I fell madly in love at first sight with a girl from old Madras. Her name was Bala Saraswati. She danced of beauty. She danced of love. But this was a very different kind of love. This was human passion for the divine. When she called out to her Krishna, I knew it was I who was calling out to Krishna. I carried that dance with me for many, many years. I saw it again and again, each time in a rain of moonbeams, in a rush of 1,000 stars. Years passed, and I realized what I had sensed vaguely. An artist yearns for the universe, searches for the universe, sometimes finds that universe, and then strives to see what is beyond that universe.
जगदो धारक उधार
take any Indian art musician and say Guru. You will be drowned in a torrent of adulation. Guru, the mentor who guides me, the boatman who steers me, the pole star who directs me. In simple words, the Guru says, "Open sesame," and unlocks the world of music for you. Now, if you were born in a family of musicians, you have a guru at home ready-made. But if you weren't, then where do you find one?
1934, Kolkata, a concert hall. On stage is an outlandish figure playing the sarod. Plain dhoti, short kurta, round black cap with mousy grey hair, but moustache, inky black. Goatee, midnight black. On and on he plays, and again his strings break. Again and again he breaks into bizarre fits, raging tantrums, ludicrous antics. Look, he's cuffing his poor accompanist, his own son. And then he turns to the tabla player, grabs the tabla from him, and starts playing it by himself. It is the freakiest show I've ever seen. But oh, the music he makes, absolutely out of this world. I soon learn his name, Baba Alauddin Khan. I learned that his foul temper is as legendary as his musical genius.
That poor man had reason enough to have that temper. Baba Alauddin Khan was born in a peasant family in Bengal. Life was full of hardships. At home, who had the time to understand his passion for music? So he ran away from home with a band of traveling musicians, ate what he got, slept where he could, searching all the while for a guru. He finally made his way to Wazir Khan, a descendant of the legendary Tansen. It did him little good because for 2 years, Wazir Khan treated his disciple like dirt. And finally, one day, the Ustad unlocked the secrets to his art, and Baba felt blessed.
Baba, they say that only if you have earned great merit in many previous lives will you have the good luck to find your guru in your present one. Maybe I had that merit. Maybe it was my good luck that made you join Uday's troupe as a musician. And that is how I see you again. And this time in Bombay. We are bound for Paris. And look, your son Ali Akbar is also there with you. But he still cowers in fear, pale-faced, knees knocking. Oh my gosh, he looks as though he's spooked out of his wits. But wait, he finds the time to drag me away. We are alone. Chocolate. Cigarette. You, Baba's son. How? What if somebody sees us? I hate smoking, but this is a 13-year-old boy who's throwing a challenge at me. How can I refuse? Oh no, thanks. I'm just so glad that you're coming with us. Now this trip is going to be so much fun.
Me?
Yes.
With my Baba?
Of course.
No.
Come on.
Are you mad?
Alubhai.
Arey, no.
Alubhai, please.
No.
Alubhai. Ali Akbar has no intention of coming with us. He doesn't want to be thrashed all the way to Paris by his foul-tempered father. I had a nightmare, he wails. My mother fell mortally ill. What if it is a sign for me to stay back? What if I never see her again? Guess what? That little scamp actually got away with it. Baba believes him and sends him home. But me, I have to go on, leaving Ma behind. And now guess what? She's had a premonition that she would never see me again. We are on the docks by the sea waiting to board our ship when Ma comes to see us off, and she puts my hand into Baba's hand and she says something uncanny.
Baba, my Robu is very chanchal, so restless. But he is young and he has just lost his father. I don't know if I will ever see him again. He is your son now. Please take care of him.
Baba's emotions were always over the top. So now he starts howling, Ma, Ma, you are Ratna Garbha. Your womb has brought forth a jewel. From now on, I have 2 sons. Your son Robu will be my elder son.
Ravi and Baba board the ship. Ravi watches Ma sobbing on the dock till she gets smaller and smaller and fades away into the distance.
Will I ever see her again?
It was on this long journey by land and sea over countries and continents that Baba started teaching Ravi both sitar and vocal music. And yes, the Ustad remembered his promise and kept his temper reined in. They developed a quaint bond. Baba was the boy's guide in music, and the boy was Baba's guide in everyday things, including sightseeing. Ravi will never forget this trip show. Baba's jaw dropped. He hissed loudly. She is white all over. Toba, Toba. At the cabaret, Baba saw the devil. But in a cathedral, Baba saw God. Ravi saw his devout Muslim guru sense divinity not just in a mosque, but in the Hindu goddess Saraswati, and now in a Christian place of worship. He learned an important life lesson. Music cuts bigotry, fosters unity, even love, amongst people of differing creeds. In our jet-setting age, it does seem strange to think that Team Uday Shankar sailed to France via Egypt, Greece, Palestine, and then by land over Romania, Austria, Bulgaria, Italy, Germany, Hungary. They performed in all these countries as well. And finally, Paris. Paris meant wine and women and ultra chic. Summer took them to England, and it was here that Ravi choreographed his first solo dance. Flamboyant, spectacular. This was the dance of Chitrasena, a Gandharva in Indra's court.
All this adulation for dancing and deftness with multiple instruments made me uppish and cocky. Yes, I was thoroughly spoilt. But music lessons kept me grounded. Rave reviews and doting fans cut no ice with Baba. He made me unlearn everything and retrain myself. He demanded single-minded, super-focused attention on the sitar. Baba was of the opinion that carnal activities drained a man of the energy that should rightfully go into making music.
You! If you want to read, write, dance, paint, you are nothing but a butterfly, flying here, flying there, always showing off. Look at you. You dress like a peacock. You strut like a pony. You drink like a fish. Chase girls all the time. No discipline. I am not going to waste my time on you. I am going back to India. At least there I can train my own son. What? You want me to stay? Continue lessons? No. You have one option left, but only if you stop being a butterfly. Come to Maihar. Yes, that's the small town in India where I live. But no, you can't. You can't give up all this swank, this blinding glamour.
And so Baba left me. And soon after, Ma also left me. One day in the midst of hectic tours and shows, my brothers told me that Ma was no more. I felt choked, blocked, frozen, numb. Why couldn't I weep?
Meanwhile, Hitler's army started marching and the family had to move back to India.
I rushed to Maihar and threw myself at Baba's feet. Of course, Baba demanded brahmacharya, total celibacy. And no ego either. He stamped out whatever self-pride was left in you. Was it torture? Yes. Was it suicide? Yes. But this was my sacred thread of hope, the only way that I could be reborn into a new life. Doubts gnawed at my vitals. You see, I had no idea what this new life would bring.
Maihar. Small, medieval, remote Maihar town in central India. A princely state under the British, haunted by legends, surrounded by ruins. What a surreal landscape for a boy from the haunts of Paris and London and New York.
Life with Baba was Spartan. A pocket-sized room, coarse mat, bamboo cot, no fan. Flies, mosquitoes, cockroaches, lizards, sometimes even scorpions insisted on sharing my room. The dark nights magnified every sound. Frogs croaked, snakes slithered, crickets scraped, and wolves howled.
7 years in Maihar. 7 years. Ravi saw 30 students arrive and run away, unable to withstand Baba's devilish outbursts. But Ravi himself was spared because whenever Baba lost his temper at Ravi, he would simply grab another boy and thrash that poor boy. If Baba couldn't find a boy, he would catch hold of a dog and beat the living daylights out of that poor creature.
I practiced all day. There was nothing else to do, nowhere to go. Years passed. Doubts plagued me. Was I misled by a mirage? Had I thrown away everything that I had to chase some pipe dream?
जरत रहत दिन रैन आस अधूरी प्यासी उमरिया आस अधूरी प्यासी उमरिया जाए अंधेरा सोनी डगरिया डरत जिया बेचैन डरत जिया बेचैन हो रामा जरत रहत दिन रैन जरत रहत दिन रैन हो रामा जरत रहत दिन रैन
What kept me going? What kept me going was Baba's inspired teaching as he forgot himself and he sang the rags. Yaman, Lalit, Manj Khamaj, Hemant, Puriya, Jai Jayvanti. Nevertheless, I became depressed. Why? You see, I didn't think I was making any progress with my music. My mind stayed far ahead, but my hands stayed far behind. And then, one day, the clouds parted. The sun shone. My torturous practice had paid off. My hands began to produce what my head imagined.
Seven years rolled by. 7 years for Baba to agree that Ravi had made some progress. He then allowed Ravi to join the famous India Cultural Center established by brother Uday Shankar in Almora. It was here that Ravi reconnected with a dancer in Uday's company with whom he'd had some wild times before.
I couldn't help myself. I was hungry. I had been celibate for too long. And then, out of the blue, my family decides to get me married to Annapurna, Baba's daughter. No, not a romance, not at all. It's not that I didn't know her. I mean, she used to join Ali Akbar and I in our music classes on her surbahar. That's their family instrument. But I used to tell her ghost stories at night, try to scare her. You know, like, in the night, when you're asleep, there's a dark cloud that is over your bed, and two red eyes peer from it, and it gets closer, and closer, and closer, and closer, until... Boom! But I didn't dare sneak a single glance at her. I mean, any hanky-panky with Baba's daughter and I'd be kicked out for sure. That's why. And now he wanted me to marry her. Before the wedding, he insisted that she become a Hindu.
Annapurna was 15 years old and Ravi was 21. They were both too young and totally mismatched. He was urbane, debonair, sophisticated, cosmopolitan. She was simple, naive, Inhibited, insular, raised in a small town in a hidebound family by a tyrant father. How could Annapurna be anything but straight-laced?
In later years, I've asked myself many, many times, why did I get married to Annapurna when I was emotionally and physically involved with another girl? Didn't I want to be footloose and fancy-free? Hadn't I thought that marriage would interfere with my pursuit of music? So then why did I become a householder at all? And then I remembered how Baba had left us suddenly in Europe and rushed off to Mysore when he heard that his son was wasting his time. You see, in the old Gharana system of Indian music, gurus passed on their knowledge to sons and members of their own clan through successive generations. Baba's departure, therefore, was not just to get his son in line, but to ensure perpetuating his heritage. If I became Baba's son-in-law, then I could claim that privilege. If I truly became a part of his family, then he would have to give me everything, without reservation. There would be no secrets between us.
The newlyweds moved into Baba's house in Mysore. What do you think? A big mistake. And then Ravi messed up. He confessed everything to his 16-year-old wife and swore he would be pure and faithful from then on. What a blunder. Annapurna was hardly prepared for these revelations. Shocked and repulsed, she shrank from Ravi.
It was weird. She had absolutely no doubt about my sins, but she had every doubt about my penitence. She never trusted me again. She thought I was unfaithful to her every time I left to perform, which I wasn't. It was just crazy. Crazy. I tell you, what's the use of all this hellish self-control if you're not going to get the credit for it?
The birth of a child, Shubhendra, little Shubho, added to their troubles. Long nights spent taking care of a cranky infant really did not improve their tempers. Ravi and Annapurna were even less suited to being parents than to being partners. He was plagued by fears of career failure, and she by jealousy. But at this point, it is only fair to note that Annapurna Devi never went on record speaking about their marriage, and all that we do know is from Ravi Shankar's side of the story.
And then we moved to Bombay.
Ravi struggled to establish his career.
Money was scarce.
Success an illusion.
And then I became terribly ill.
Annapurna's hands were full with the child.
My brother Rajendra lived next door.
He sent his wife's young sister to nurse Ravi.
Kamala, stunning beauty, an apsara.
Surprise, surprise! The leopard has regained its spots. You can say it louder. Spots, yes.
Annapurna upped and left for Mysore, taking little Shubha with her.
Ravi's brother got Kamala, married off to his friend double quick.
Annapurna returned, but not without the green-eyed monster to ravage us both.
Home became a battlefield,
We tried to give concerts together.
proudly showcasing their Mysore legacy.
Oh God, no.
Audiences decided that the wife was the better musician.
Funny. They saw us as rivals, antagonists.
Bitterness grew. The marriage fell apart.
And then Kamala's husband died quite suddenly.
This brought Kamala back into Ravi's orbit,
Annapurna left again.
but refused to divorce Ravi,
I couldn't marry Kamala.
like he desperately wanted to.
Kamala became everything to me. She was my confidant, my Sakhi, my counselor, my assistant. She was the woman of my dreams. However, I couldn't stop philandering. But I told her everything. I thought she understood. However, after 24 years of understanding, Kamala decided to part ways. Why did it come to this? Was it because it was too late by the time Annapurna finally released me? Or was it because by then I had had 2 daughters by 2 different women on 2 sides of the Atlantic? Decades passed, and one day I met Kamala again, and I had to find some answers. Kamala, why did you leave me so suddenly?
Don't you know?
Well, I know I was unfaithful to you, but I gave you my trust. There were no secrets between us.
I knew I was not the only woman in your life.
You didn't seem to mind.
You could play Krishna always. But how long could I play Radha?
I thought you understood.
Understand. Understand? Understand when I saw you getting simultaneously involved with a woman in London and a woman in New York, and 2 daughters with barely 2 years between them.
I thought you had accepted me for what I am. Warts and all.
Oh yes, you were very clear about what you could not give me. It was I who deluded myself. I told myself that your music is so sublime that one day you would outstrip your basic instinct. One day we would be soulmates. More fool me. It took me 24 years to understand that it could never be.
I never saw this in you.
How could you? You saw everything from your side alone. But honestly, tell me, did you think that all you had to do was to be frank about your promiscuity and all the pain you caused would magically disappear?
Kamala, I respected every woman in my life. Whatever happened was consensual.
Oh yes, that is true. You are a god. Who can resist you?
You break my heart.
I'm sorry, but I did not leave you because there were other women in your life. I left because I understood that for you, promiscuity is not merely a physical addiction. It's something else altogether. You are obsessed with the quest, not its fulfillment. You want the journey, not its end. It's the same with your music. You make music to invoke peace. But if you were ever to find that quiet place, you would be emptied from within.
Kamala, what are you saying?
Restlessness empowers you. You are creative because you are chanchal. My dear, don't you know that already?
हाय रे वो दिन क्यों ना आए झिलमिल वो तारे कहाँ गए सारे मन बाती जले बुझ जाए हाय रे वो दिन क्यों ना आए
सोनी मेरी वीणा संगीत बिना सपनों की माला मुरझाए हाय रे वो दिन क्यों ना आए जा जा के ऋतु जा जा के ऋतु लौटाए
Like all human beings, I am flawed. I am still trying to unlock my voice through my music, discover my deepest, darkest desires and fears. Well, there is much about me that I cannot explain, even to myself. But Sukanya never asked for any explanations, did she? Sukanya, from the moment I saw her in London, mid-70s, I couldn't take my eyes off her. She was so young. She was so lovely. She was so married. But I believed that some higher power brought Sukanya into my life. You knew I had a woman in New York and a woman in Bombay.
I did not speak of them.
Were you upset when my daughter Nora was born?
No, all I wanted was to have a child with you.
I said I would not be part of that decision.
I did not protest.
I refused to acknowledge our child for many years.
I did not complain.
I resisted the idea of marriage.
I made no demands.
I stopped talking to you.
I didn't blame you. Did I blame you?
I gave you a ring.
I did not ask why.
I announced that we were to be married.
I did not ask why it took so long.
I would not have lived as long or had a life in music for so long without you. Here I am in New York, and here it is, splashed across this magazine. Special sitar recital at Carnegie Hall by Pandit Ravi Shankar, the godfather of world music. Godfather. Makes me sound like some mafia don. What else? Ravi Shankar became famous because of the Beatles, especially George Harrison. Ravi Shankar shot to international fame when he played music along with legendary violin maestro Yehudi Menuhin. Ravi Shankar was the first Indian musician at the Monterey Pop Festival, 1967, and Woodstock, 1969. Wow, wow, wow. I am 75 years old. I have spent the last 60 years mastering my art and craft. I am an Indian classical musician. I designed a special sitar with extra strings and resonator to suit the style that I had crafted. I dove into the old rags, discovering their depth and sweep, their secret nooks and crannies, their hints and nuances. From our folk tunes, I drew fresh colors and vibrant tones. And that is not all. I composed new rags, Gangeshwari, Parameshwari, Tilaksham, Charukons. One of them is Mohan Kons, my homage to Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. And yet, what is my claim to fame? Woodstock, Monterey, the Beatles, East meets West. If anybody calls me the great hybridizer again, I will simply go mad. And now I must meet one more pen pusher. from my own country. I must keep calm. I must not lose my temper. I must be cool. But one more godfather of world music, and I will.
Namaste, Panditji. I am honored to meet the godfather of world music.
Oh my God, what do I look like? Marlon Brando. Come, sit. Where's my cat? In truth, I don't feel like a godfather of world music or any other kind of music. I am simply an Indian classical musician.
Of course. Thank you so much for your time. I know you are very busy. Can we start right away? I have so many questions for you.
Well, that sounds scary.
Why?
Because at this stage in my life, I have more questions than answers. But I will try to do my best.
Well, whatever you may say, the Beatles, George Harrison, did call you the godfather of world music. Didn't it all start when George Harrison came to India and became your disciple? Suddenly, Indian classical music flashed into the psychedelic zone. The sitar popped up in Beatles songs. By the way, what did you think of this?
Stop. Enough. I couldn't keep my ears shut. But I kept my mouth shut. I had to. My nephews and nieces were going gaga over George. But I told George right at the very start, no crash course in our Indian music. He had dedication. I absolutely loved him for being genuine in whatever he did. He became a son to me.
And then Monterey, Woodstock, you became a rock star. Beatnik guru, hippie icon. How surreal this must have been for you. Thousands of flower children swaying, clapping, breathless, blissed out.
You mean 40,000 people sinking into the slush like our water buffaloes in a muddy swamp? Drugged, stoned, hallucinating, freaking out. I was afraid that my sitar would get damaged in the pelting rain. I begin to play. The crowd starts swaying like whirling dervishes, smoking, snorting, shrieking. Some of them simply keeled over and conked out. And there he was.
Who?
Jimi Hendrix. What is he doing? Plucking out the hair from his chest. Methodically. One by one. So if you think it was one big historic conquest, no, it was a horror show.
But Panditji, why did you...
Why did I swallow my disgust and carry on? Well, I have asked myself that same question many times. Yes, there were times when I walked off the stage, but I had to come back, play for the concerts that I had been booked for.
But it wasn't all just pop and jazz. You also played with the who's who of classical music. Yehudi Menuhin, Philip Glass, Andre Pravin, Jean-Pierre Rampal, Zubin Mehta, all on equal terms. In fact, they were humbled by the experience. Didn't Menuhin say, I was terrified to play with Ravi Shankar. I felt I was in no way worthy.
Yehudi Menuhin had a rare humanity. He embodied the Indian ideal of Vinaya, what we Indian musicians aspire to be but are often not. In fact, all my collaborators were not only the best, but intent on doing their best. You see, I couldn't play Bach or Handel, so it had to be the music that I composed based on an Indian rag. Serious and challenging as these adventures were, I knew they couldn't be my main pursuit, my major vocation.
Were these interactions with Western musicians then part of your career advancement plan? A formula, a strategy?
Now I hear it. The asli sur, the journalist's voice, snip, bite, sting. Array, our music is neither programmed nor planned, nor even strategized. Whatever I play is improvised on the spur of the moment. So how can I be anything but spontaneous? Impulsive? Sure. I enjoyed the acclaim, but if I wanted to restrict my ambition to personal success alone, why? I could have stayed in the rock circuit. But pop music changes from month to month, from week to week. The music that I trained in is timeless, like literature. You see, I am proud of my Indian heritage, the music of Bharat. I was hell-bent on making other countries, continents, and cultures recognize its magnificence. I wanted to enlighten the whole world, launch an epiphany.
And this was a self-imposed mission?
Oh, yes. Quite disheartening at first. You know, once a late night host of a primetime show asked me, Mr. Ravi Shankar, your sitar sounds so bizarre. Is it true that Indian music is associated with drugs? Does your music spread chemical intoxication?
And then all these other critics joined in with their, oh, Ravi Shankar has made a sitar sound like a banjo.
But I carried on. I did not give up. City, town, village, I went everywhere, dragging poor Alaraka along with me. We stayed in drab cells and shoddy lodges, played in cramped spaces, dingy chambers, grey homes for a smattering of uninformed people. Alaraka was always homesick. I used to play pranks on him, just perk his mood up, sometimes grab his tabla, give him my sitar and say, you play that, I'll play this. Once up in Sweden, Alaraka was lugging his tabla and me my sitar, and up, we have to climb 8 flights of stairs, no elevator, freezing cold. On floor 3, Alaraka slumps down, starts howling like an overgrown baby. Ya Khuda, take me home, Abhi! Believe me, I wanted to slump down right next to him and howl along with him. But I did not. I carried on. Because I believe that our Indian music is mind-blowing. And I had to find new ways to blow their minds away.
Well, one of your rivals thought this was all wrong. He said, I only quote, he said, why take our music to the West? If they want to listen to Indian music, let them come to India. And don't you dare introduce our music through the Beatles.
These Gharana musicians, umpteen musicians up the family tree. They have their opinions. What else did he say?
Oh, he said, your soul will abuse you if you mix Western and Indian music, join rock festivals, invent new rags to fool the people.
How can I forget that day? 1952, the Constitution Club. Ali Akbar and I are about to start our Sitar Sarod duet. Patrons, critics, connoisseurs, Delhi's literati packed the space, men all spruced up, women dripping with jewels, all eagerly waiting to hear Baba Alauddin Khan's prized disciples. And then, out of nowhere, a young man storms in, brandishing his sitar like a weapon. Vilayat Khan, son of
Inayat Khan.
Inayat Khan, son of
Imdad
Khan. Cloaking impudence with deference, he asks in courtly Urdu, Adab. The stage is adorned with splendid blooms. May I add my fragrance? Next thing I know, he's sitting on stage as though he owns it. Ali Akbar puts his sarod down. Baba issues a warning, play with respect. But Vilayat has no intention of showing respect nor spreading fragrance. He turns our duet into a duel. I hit the high notes, my strings break, he just goes on and on and on.
And they say the audience went wild over him.
Yes, I am sure they did.
But only fair to say that years later, the same Vilayat Khan had this to say about your duel. I'm sorry, I meant your duet. He said, I regret to think of my Jugalbandi with Ravi Shankar. Bitter, competitive, vengeful. But the jibes never did stop. Once, after mesmerizing his audience at a concert, he grabbed the mic and announced, "You have to be born from a mother's womb to play like this, not drop down from helicopters." Of course, he meant your arrival at Woodstock.
Enjoying this, are we?
No, I am just remembering what he said at a press meet. All this sawal jawab, razzle dazzle that Ravi Shankar introduced. Why? The sitar performs, the tabla performs, even the audience perform. His own Allah Rakha and Zakir Hussain dare not try these tricks with me. If they do, won't I make them sweat?
Are you done?
But Raviji, peacemakers would have it that there was no personal rivalry between the two of you, just differences in creative outlook.
What do you think?
Me? I am not here to think, I am just here to listen and record. But I've heard it said that neither the Ustad nor the Pandit could have soared to the heights they did without the other to inspire them. After all, who were they playing for, if not for each other? But Raviji, it was not just Vilayat Khan, there were many others who denounced you for what they called prostituting Indian art and culture.
Critics. My own country slamming me. How hurtful it felt. But I came back to India, stayed there, and played my music and proved that I was as authentic as anybody.
Meanwhile, your perfect scores for Indian films didn't always get the perfect response. Satyajit Ray never called you back after the Appu trilogy. Lata Mangeshkar refused to sing for you after Anuradha.
I see you have done your homework. Yes, it hurt. But you must admit that Ray made some sublime films, and Lata, she is Lata. You know, something strange happened when I was tuning that song for her. You know it, Piya Jane Na. I glanced at the lines. Seasons come and go. The heart holds its secrets. Why? Oh, my love, I don't know. And then suddenly, a tidal wave rushed over me, and I felt myself going up, gasping, struggling. Snatched the days that had gone by, those that had left me forever. Time was passing. Love, wealth, fame, honor, all dissolving like mist. I saw myself out of time, out of space, outside of myself. And then suddenly, the music was there.
कैसे दिन बीते कैसी बीती रतियाँ पिया जाने ना है कैसे दिन बीते कैसी बीती रतियाँ पिया जाने ना नेहा लगा के मैं पछताई नेहा लगा के मैं पछताई
Raviji? Raviji, thank you so much for your time. But before I go, may I ask you, you've had a phenomenal career. Does fame ever make you feel dizzy?
You know, once in Manhattan, I was in a cab and I saw the driver staring at me through the rear view mirror, and I thought to myself, oh my God, he's recognized me. He's going to ask me for an autograph. What a bore. Sure enough, when I paid him the fare, he turns to me and he says, dude, you're awesome. You're my favorite Bollywood dancer.
But seriously, for someone who's done just about everything, is there anything you're still looking for?
Yes. I am still seeking the silence that lies between the notes. That, my friend, is the true power of music.
That, I'm afraid, is too mystical for me. But still, I'd hate to ask you a goofy question.
I'd love to give you a goofy answer.
Have you at any time felt any irrational fear?
Irrational fear. Irrational fear. I've always wondered if Baba was right after all about all my music draining out of me because I was chasing girls.
Any doubts, regrets, misgivings? I mean, if you could live your life all over again, would you do it any differently?
Doubts, regrets, misgivings. I didn't have the ideal father. But that doesn't mean that I couldn't have been a better father. But somehow, paternity didn't suit me. I mean, it's not that I didn't enjoy my children, but with my hectic schedule, where was the time to look into all their questions and handle all those responsibilities? I sometimes think about my son, Shubho, my unlucky son. You know, people say he was lucky to have been trained by both Annapurna and me. Of course, we wanted him to continue the Mayur legacy, but the boy grew up in a miasma of bitterness. A dysfunctional father, a martinet mother. I mean, how could Baba's daughter be anything but tyrannical? I still recall how Shubho virtually begged me to take him with me to the US. Well, I did. Continued to teach him, tried to give concerts together. But the boy was too psychologically damaged, too scarred to go on. No, things didn't go well. How could they? Shubho ended up working as a clerk in a liquor store to support his wife and family. Imagine Baba's grandson, my son, a clerk in a liquor store. How can I forget that I was too sick to travel and your mother too much of a recluse to be by your side when you passed away? People blame me for your tragic life. Your even more tragic death. Oh, Shubho. Oh, Shubho. I am crushed. But the universe is full of compassion. And even though I am hardly the model father, God gives me a second chance. A chance to see two young daughters grow up to be two beautiful women. One who finds her own music and one whom I groom in music. So am I content? Years ago on the docks by the sea, I was 13 years old when Ma called me Chanchal, restless. If I could live my life again, I would learn to be shant, tranquil, not restless, Chanchal. I would restrict myself to Shastriya Sangeet, pure, high Indian classical music. I would go deeper and deeper and deeper until... Who am I kidding? Can I be someone else? Not explore the unexplored? Chanchal am I. So be it. I cannot change. I will not change. I have to be myself. To be myself. To be myself is to know that I am invincibly rooted in my magnificent Indian classical tradition. To know that making music is a prayer for compassion, a penance, an atonement, the bliss of redemption.
Om Bhurbhuvasuvah Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasuvah Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasuvah Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat.
हे नाथ हम पर कृपा कीजिए, हे नाथ हम पर कृपा कीजिए, दूर कर अंधकार ज्ञान का आलोक दीजिए, हे नाथ हम पर कृपा कीजिए, दूर कर अंधकार ज्ञान का आलोक दीजिए, हे नाथ हम पर कृपा कीजिए, हिंसा द्वेष लोभ क्रोध हमसे छीन लीजिए, हिंसा द्वेष लोभ क्रोध हमसे छीन लीजिए, मन में प्रेम शांति भर दीजिए, मन में प्रेम शांति भर दीजिए, हे नाथ हम पर कृपा कीजिए, हे नाथ हम पर कृपा कीजिए, हे नाथ हम पर कृपा कीजिए।
I ache for the light. I reach for the stars. I find the sun, Ravi, within myself. Om Tat Sat.
I think you can hear me, though there is no mic. I would love to introduce my cast to you. Johan Chaco. Bharati Veerarajan. Bhavya Kumaran. Harini Chicago girls. Okay. And Sneha Shije from light and sound. So today I think she did sound. And Maudian, who kindly helped us with the light. And all those wonderful tech people who helped us to put this together, because you know how important technology is today. We can't do anything without tech help. So thank you very much. I would also like to mention the fact that the music that you heard, in fact, I forgot to mention it yesterday, and Chandra reminded me. The music that you heard, of course, the sitar tracks were the original tracks from Pandit Ravi Shankar's own recordings, which is why Sukanya Rajan kindly and generously allowed me to use as and when I pleased. And the recorded music are mostly the songs of Pandit Ravi Shankar, sung. The lead vocalist was Bombay Jayashree, whom all of you must be knowing. And then she was accompanied in vocal music by Vignesh Ishwar. I think you can hear me, but anyway. Hello. Okay. She was accompanied, Bombay Jayashree was accompanied by Vignesh Ishwar and Chaitra Sairam, her student. And most importantly for this country, Aditya Prakash, who is a California boy. So we've had collaboration from Chicago and California to bring this production together. And I also wish to, I don't know how to say this, my heartfelt thanks to Kalapriya, to Mridu Shekhar, and her wonderful team who have put in relentless work for so many months to present this play, not once, but twice. Yesterday in Schaumburg and today here in this extraordinary setting, the International House, in the University of Chicago, which is very dear to me for a very simple reason. A.K. Ramanujan, who worked here for many years and who became a kind of a legend in the world of Indian poetry and Indian translation of great Indian poetry, ancient, modern, and medieval. He lived and taught in this university. So whenever I come here, I feel that it's a kind of a pilgrimage that I'm making. So it's a very special thing for me, and my cast members, all of them have loved Ramanujan's poetry. So we remember him today in this particular place because he was here for so many years and did such extraordinary work to promote Indian art, culture, poetry, and literature. Is there anything else that I've forgotten? No. This is the first time I have not forgotten anything. So, thank you. Yes, there is something that I wish to say. It's not something that I've forgotten. It's something that I thought of just now, looking at all of you right here. It makes me feel so happy that we shared this with such a responsive audience. As you know, if the play was good, it's entirely because of you. A book is only as good as the reader. A play is only as good as the audience. So thank you so much for being here and enjoying this performance. Thank you again, Nidhi.
She's ready to take some questions. Come on.
No, I've been sitting more this way. Anything?
Okay. Well, go ahead, sir. Sundar.
It was really enchanting. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's your Ravi Shankar. And I think, it gives a very intimate look that you wouldn't get from other sources. I just have a minor question because on the Annapurna marriage, which actually portrayed as a kind of a disaster to be expected. So recently there was a documentary done.
Yes, there have been books, documentaries.
Yes, and I saw it, and there was some discussion after the documentary. And in the play, you portray the marriage, the main driver behind the marriage as, her father, for the reasons you mentioned. There in this discussion, it came up that perhaps it was Uday Shankar who actually wanted this marriage, partly to stabilize Ravi Shankar, his flirtatious way.
Ravi Shankar says it was his sister-in-law, Krishna, who was married to one of the Shankar brothers. There were 5 brothers, not Uday Shankar. That's what he says. And she suggested it, and everybody else thought it was a great idea, and Baba also loved it. But this question of Annapurna is something that I'm not going to answer, because in other venues also, not only in the US, have asked me about why did I portray Annapurna in a negative light. It's not a negative light at all. It's just that they're both negative in this context. They were mismatched, as I said, and they were too young to be married. Second thing is, as my narrator tells you, this is a story. What you heard in this play is the way Ravi Shankar saw himself. And I made that very clear in the prologue also. It is the way he saw himself. If he was deluding himself, it's for you to guess.
In between, but Gauri's delving into the characters is a very important insight. Insight is different from creating the story. So anyway, yes, another question.
Lovely seeing you, Gauri.
Oh, Chitra, my goodness.
I missed you in Chennai. I want to ask you, the interview scene that you had shown. I remember you talking about your interview with Ravi Shankar and Velayat Khan. Was that from your own?
Several.
She's the journalist.
Yeah, so it's just from there, right?
Most of it, but he said a lot of things which I did not
of course,
put up in the play, because
right.
I thought they were very personal and private, and so I left them.
I know, so I was waiting for this kind of, because you talked to me very extensively about
Yes,
it.
about, this is something that happens, I think all journalists know. If you are a
Right.
quiet listener, people say more things than they should to you. So it is up to you to use your discretion and your sense that good sense that God has given you to make sure that you don't vilify the character
Absolutely.
or misuse it or use it as a scoop. I'm not a scoop journalist, so
Yeah,
that's it.
that
But
is based
yes,
on that,
yes.
right?
It's not exactly as it has happened, but I had several interviews with him, so that's the thing. Anything else?
And your use of dance. I think you should talk about your use of dance.
Dance mainly because, sorry I say dance because I come from a colonized country where we continue to speak British English. I use the dance because Raviji began his life as a dancer, which many people actually don't know because it happened so long ago. He was excessively praised. He had rave reviews in London.
I'd like you to use.
Okay. He had, Raviji, as I said, began his career as a dancer and had excessively great acclaim for his dancing when he was a very young boy from the London Times, New York Times, and so on. The great newspapers of the world and the great critics of the world thought that he was an excellent dancer. So I thought I should, and I also know that he was a choreographer later in life. I know he has choreographed several other works which may not be so famous. But the thing is, I did not use it only because of that. That gave me a justification to use dance in a play which is really, it's a dialogue-driven play, as you can see. It's not not dance theater, but I used the dance to express what I could not say through words. The mental trauma, the thoughts that were running through his mind, his feelings at that moment, his doubts, his remorse, his feelings for which there are really no words. There are any number of things that we experience for which there are no words, really. So I thought that the music in combination with the dance would convey that, even if you didn't understand the language or the gestures or the movement of the dance. Subliminally, I trust the audience's intelligence. I feel that it communicates itself wordlessly. That's why I use dance. I can tell you it was hellish to choose the music, Raviji's tracks, because all of them are so wonderful that to, kind of restrict yourself to a few, it doesn't satisfy you at all. But then I'm sure after hearing, or even without listening to the music in the play, you will be hungry after seeing this play to hear more and more music by Pandit Ravi Shankar. Let's not forget Vilayat Khan, who was an extraordinary genius. It was my good fortune to have extensively interviewed both legends and heard their points of view and their rivalry, their jealousy, and their angst that Vilayat Khan wanted to be Ravi Shankar in some ways, Ravi Shankar wanted to be Vilayat Khan in some ways. I think, as we put it in the play, that rivalry kept. Who told me that? That line is not mine. Here, Vilayat Khan's son, Shujat Khan, said, "Are Gauri, if Raviji didn't have my father, and my father didn't have Raviji, who would they be playing for?" he said. So I remember that. This was Shujat Khan, who himself is a wonderful singer and a sitar player. Yes.
And Gauri is an in-depth study of character. Really, really quite insightful. Thank you so much, Gauri. And everybody is invited to the reception. And you can meet with all the artists individually. And we thank you very much for being here.
A shout out to Whitney. A shout out to Whitney for making the time to be here. Thank you.